right, so it's day number 4. Game number 1. One team, 2 from 2. The other team yet to get off the mark. Today, a crucial day for the Ginger Generals. And I know the Saffron Strikers will want to maintain the 100% record. We are here for the coin toss. Match referee is here. Let's have the toss.
Johan is home captain. Johan will spin and Kemi would call. Call is ahead. It looked like a tail. The bowling first.
Well, let's hear from the Ginger Generals captain. Johan, you won the toss and you're going to?
Yeah, we will have a bowl first. We look to restrict them on the low total as much as possible.
Okay, your assessment of the wickets still the same?
Yeah, yesterday I realized that the wicket was playing a bit slow. Today I just want to give the batsman a chance, by seeing what it does up front and make the bowlers utilize whatever moisture there is.
All right, well, good luck to you. You really need to get one in the bag just for a bit of momentum. Let's see how it goes.
Thank you.
Well, Kemi, you are on top, 100% record. Confidence must be high.
Yeah, I mean the feeling in the camp is very good, so just hope to come here and get another victory under the belt.
Well, you lost the toss, so had you won the toss, what would have been your decision?
We would have bowled first as well, but I mean it's just a toss, so we know at some point you have to bat. So this could be a challenge for the team batting first for the first time.
Okay, so good luck to you today, Kem, and let's hope that you can keep that 100% record intact.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so there we had it. In a few minutes' time, we will have the first ball in game number 1, day 4, Dream 11, Spiceisle T10, season 5. All right, well, we are here. Picture on your screen will tell you that there is brilliant sunshine and there is just a little breeze if you look at the flags in the background. And we are here, CR John, alongside me, Justin Hector, and we are going to be bringing you the first encounter in day 4 of the Dream 11 Spiceisle T10 season 5. Justin, the bowlers seem to be dominating. So far, only 1 half century to really speak about. What do you think is in store for today?
If you had to judge from the previous games, you probably want to think that it will continue that way for a little while deeper into the tournament. The batters, especially up at the top of the others, they're prepared to go hard from very early on. That will always present opportunities to the bowlers. And I think it may just be some of the same. I don't want to place a bet and say, well, probably we'll see wickets in the first overs. We've been seeing a lot of in recent times. But again, this is still very likely, the fact that the batters are going very hard. But all in all, I think we've had a couple very interesting games. We have a couple very tight ones. And one hope that today will provide again for spectators some type of thriller.
Well, it certainly will need to be a thriller. The Ginger Generals, they are yet to get off the mark. While the Saffron Strikers, they are 2-0, and they are leading in terms of the points table. And so it makes for a really interesting encounter. The Ginger Generals, they will want to register a victory and have something that, they can speak about, that the fans can really begin to shout about.
Yeah, the Ginger Generals really need to get off. They're not probably the worst team in the tournament in terms of when you look at the resources that they possess, the batting and everything. And they just haven't come to the party really yet. And one hopes that today would be that day when they actually get it all together and at least post a win on the table. And it's not too late. They can still claw their way back into contention. So it's up to the players, it's up to them to get it all together.
Well, they certainly will be hoping to get it together as we see the umpires heading out, and shortly they will be followed by the teams, the fielding team and the batting team. Ginger Generals, they won the toss. They will be in the field. And so they will be looking to restrict the Saffron Strikers. I dare say a total, maybe just around 100 may just be sufficient. Anything below that, you take it and you say you've had a good day in the field.
Right, so as Sidian said, the umpires going out, the contrasting heights and sizes of the umpires. Umpire Manwarin, of course, will be standing here on the southern end, and umpire Hulas heading out to the northern side, much taller than Manwarin. So not very hard to distinguish them out there. Of course, Manwarin posting the dreadlock. Yeah. But one really expect a good encounter here. The conditions A1, and of course, hot day. It's a hot day. It's already very, very hot. And I'm sure at some point they will be feeling the effects of that heat out there. But again, in this game, when you're out there, you don't really feel it, you know. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you the Saffron Strikers, and they will want to bring some heat to their batting. And the Ginger Generals, they will want to bring the heat with the ball and really look to topple each other.
Well, they are bowling first today, and probably that may just change the fortune for them. And, as we see, Brathwaite and Joseph going out. Brathwaite had a fairly good knock in the first game that he played, first or second game that he played. If memory serves me right, it's second or third game that the Saffron are playing.
This is the second game, the Saffron Strikers.
Yes. Yeah.
And so Sheehan Brathwaite has been in amongst the runs. And he will want to continue to be among the runs.
And what would be interesting would be to see whether the Ginger bowlers will sort of find him out, because he seems to favor playing the ball very square on the offside, square on the onside. And they have to be seen what type of approach. You know, some of these players may not have seen some of these players previously, but you can't take too much time in trying to figure things out.
Well, I think what the Ginger Generals will have to do well against Brathwaite is to use the art of deception, because outside of that, he's a really good, powerful striker of the cricket ball.
Yes.
And he plays more or less 360 cricket. He can get inside the line. There's that shot that he would play, whipping it off the toes more or less. He's a good puller, a good hooker of the cricket ball. Beautiful driver. So he has an all-round potential. And so really could be a very tough customer to bowl to. And once the Ginger Generals see the back of him, I think they will be happy.
Yeah, that will be important, I think.
So it's going to be spin first up as Davis Charles from the pavilion end. And he will be bowling to Rikel Sylvester.
And already we've seen that bounce that we associate with that pitch. And so I think all the batters now must be quite familiar now with conditions, and they're expecting that and probably making the adjustments to suit.
Yeah, I quite agree with you there. Davis again. Just seem to be getting a bit of movement.
Yes, and
ball just pitching and leaving.
And limit good. And that's up in the air and just over the fielders at extra cover. 3 men converging on it. And in the end, getting enough bat onto it and getting it away. So we're just on the verge again of seeing another early wicket. This time was not to be, although it's still early in the over.
Charles, Sylvester goes again. Just looking to belt this one through the offside. Really not making the sort of contact that he wanted. So far, good over. 4 deliveries gone. Wants to close off this over very well, Charles. just pushing that wide line somewhat.
And the batter not yet in a mobile mode, just standing and looking to stand and deliver. But a good over, very, very good over in fact. At the end of 2 for no loss. And for once again, we didn't have a wicket in the first over.
Yeah, no wickets in this over, but let's see what the second over brings. Because when you don't get it in the first, you tend to get it in the second. So, certainly the Ginger Generals will really want to pick up a wicket here in this over.
And very early we see George, Dennis George into the attack. Yesterday he bowled more towards the middle or back end of the inning. He didn't have a good time of it. Probably left to be seen how he goes with a much newer, harder ball. And, not a bad idea, I think, either too, to have the slower bowlers up against these opening batters.
Well, certainly you want to build pressure, and we've seen that the slower bowlers have been able to just build that pressure. And they're definitely 2 runs coming off the first over. You've seen that, and you want to replicate that now. And maybe just pick up a wicket in between.
You would have seen that Raquel Sylvester didn't look too assured against the slower stuff. And I still can't say differently, you know, because one, he just really pushed out to the ball coming up the inner portion of the bat, so meaning that he wasn't really to the pitch of the ball. I'm probably not sure as to whether how much turn would have been available. But he survived, and that was Braffett, and he survived. And he brings Sylvester now into strike.
Dennis George getting some turn. Sylvester just a bit watchful. Sylvester wants to get a good innings here. Saffron strikers, they need somebody to get a half century. And there he goes, lifting this one. It's in the gap, and it's 4 runs. The Raquel Sylvester really expertly played. He never tried keeping it down. His intention was just to get it over the infield, picking up a much-needed boundary just to get some momentum into the batting innings of the Saffron strikers.
Well, yes, there was a lot of real estate out there. All he had to do was to get it into the air over the wide mid-on area, and he went away for 40. In fact, the fielder who was at mid-wicket now comes a little wrong to his left. Probably more like to the left-hand spinner, probably more towards where he should have been originally.
Sylvester goes again, and he's bowled. He is bowled, really not getting to the pitch of that one. He just seemed to be reaching for it, and that one turned around the bat, cannoning into the leg stump. And this is what the Ginger Generals definitely requires if they're going to make a contest of this one. Early wickets, Sylvester goes over number 2.
You should not have said that. Well, we've had early wickets, and again we do 7 for 1 in over number 2. In fact, just 5 deliveries gone in over number 2, and we had an early wicket. And this brings Kem Charles. So they have to continue to take wickets, to peg the Saffron strikers back. And certainly it was a good move again to bring Dennis George, who is a very experienced bowler, on very early. We saw Raquel Sylvester hitting him for 4. I shot really 2. He had to reach 2. He wasn't really to the pitch of it, but got a lot of bat on it, and therefore got it away towards wide lawn. And this time, almost missing, and his wicket being hit. So, interesting time, 7 for 1.
Yeah, when you play the spinner like George, who gets the ball to move into the right-hander, that leg off spin, you need to get a bit close to the delivery if you're really going to play it. And so he was too far. The ball turning. George getting this one to go the other ways. And Charles just playing it respectfully. So, in the context of what is happening, second over, 7 for 1. Ginger Generals will be happy.
Very happy. And very happy to see the back of Raquel Sylvester. In fact, to see the back of any one of these batters. They haven't had a really good time of it in the two previous matches. And certainly they'll be eager to bounce back. And we see more spin as Eugene takes it up from the southern end. So just mixing it up, not allowing the batters to settle too much with one bowler. Not to see too much of one bowler, a particular bowler. Just mixing things up. And that may just be the approach of the Ginger Generals as they proceed through these overs.
Gene to Braffett. I think this is something that possibly the Ginger Generals know about Braffett. He's pretty slow to start against the spin, but once he gets going, he can be very fluent. And so we've seen spin for the first 3 overs of this match.
He's been very prolific against the faster men. So you'll have to show now that he has the same type of confidence against the slower bowler. As he picks up a single.
So smartly just pushing and getting a single. So it's Braffett, one more to him.
This brings Charles into strike. And he will be facing the off spin of Eugene outside the off stump. And it's in a cut going onto the back foot and looking to cut a delivery which again some bunks available for Eugene. And Charles can't get onto it. Again a shortest delivery, but again bunks and turn, pushing Charles back. And can do no more than to play it back up on the offside of the wicket. And Eugene came across and do the fielding. 8 for 1. We're in over number 3. And Charles this time getting sort of wayward one, which he was able to turn away into the onside towards mid wicket. The captain comes around from backward square towards a forward square leg position to do the fielding just behind the umpire. And another single was had. Saffron strikers there, 9 for 1. We really going through the over very quickly. Already one delivery to go in the third over. 9 for 1. And Eugene.
Yeah.
Up in the air it goes. We have that gone, but that will be safe. The captain pulling it back just inside the backward of square boundary. And only 2 runs can be had. But by and large, a good over by Eugene. Over which really did have Charles in some bit of border. Only 4 runs coming off the over, and I'm sure that the Ginger Generals will be very, very, very happy with that. 11 for 1 after 3.
3 overs. Really not motoring along as yet, the Saffron strikers. Generals have done very well to keep that pressure on. Spinners doing a good job so far. So they just asking the batters to really put some pace on the ball if they're really going to clear the field. So far the ploy has worked well.
And Dennis George will continue. He won't have to come back when the heat is on. Again, a delivery bang on target. Not able to get it down towards mid-off. The fielder comes around to his right to do the fielding. And a single to Kem Charles. So he's on 2. So Braffett will take strike. And off the back foot and strokes it nicely into the offside. And we'll get another single as it goes down towards the fielder at long off. But these singles really wouldn't hurt the Ginger Generals. I'm sure they wouldn't mind that at all. 13 for 1.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't mind the singles, the Ginger Generals. They will be comfortable with giving away 6 singles. It means that they are managing the boundary scoring, which is what could really hurt them. So far, they're on top of their game. 3 overs gone, 14. So the Saffron strikers not really going anywhere as yet. They just seem to have the ignition on. Car still in neutral. You get a little roll because it's probably on the hill.
Oh, good delivery again by George. Bang on target and a little bounce and turn again, and all Braffett can do is to play down in front of him, and there is no run. Yes, before they move out, they'll have to also put the handbrakes down. Probably still having the handbrakes up. Haven't yet pushed the handbrakes down. Pulled away into the onside. Again, only a single.
So really good pressurizing stuff here by the Ginger Generals. Current run rate 3.91. One delivery to go in the fourth over. So the field is spread. The opportunity to spread the field is there. Keeping them quiet so far. As Charles just whipping this one. Really not attacking the boundary. Charles just looking to tug it around, bring an end to the over. He survives. 4 runs per over is their run rate. Projected score 40 if they continue like this.
Well, they gotta get a move on. We're nearing the almost the halfway stage of the over, and can't leave it for too late. You can, gotta make an effort at the top of the order, especially to really keep it going. It may cost you a wicket or two, but on the contrary, that's what you need to do. Charles is back. So a different approach we're seeing by the Ginger Generals, really just mixing the bowlers up, mixing it up a bit. Not having, as I said, the batsman become too settled for too long, seeing a particular bowler. So it's having to be set and reset.
So Charles will be looking to give some momentum to the innings. Goes, can't get it past the bowler. Denroy Charles. And so it's a Charles affair, Denroy Charles and
Kem Charles.
Kem Charles. Charles to Charles. He goes hard. Does he get enough connection? He doesn't, but luckily for him, it drops short of Jeremiah, who's at the long off position and had to come in. Certainly the intent is there from Kem Charles. Charles to Brathwaite, he whips this one. Not getting anything off it. But what was interesting with that shot is the fact that the bat came down straight, and you can actually see how he opened the wrist, just turned the wrist to get it into the leg side. Reverse. And it's dropped. A good effort there by Taylor, but really couldn't hold on to that one. Shane Braffett bringing out the reverse sweep and only succeeded in getting it to Taylor, who had to put in the dive. Fortunately, it fell out.
Yeah, so
Not a single.
there's some real pressure out there on the batters. The bowlers are bowling pretty well. We're nearing the end of over number 5. Only 19 for 1. And Davis Charles would want to finish strongly, and that goes high up. It goes very high. Fielders are converging. The captain is underneath it and takes it rather easily in the end. So there goes the pressure. The real pressure beginning to tell. And not handling the slower men too well at all. Both batsmen basically almost grown to a halt. And the pressure causing the wicket to fall. And Saffron strikers in more trouble here. They're 19 for 2 and 5 gone.
Well, tell you what, the Ginger Generals, they will be happy. They have just gotten the wicket of Cheyenne Braffett. It means this is a big wicket for them. They now can bring on their pacers with a little bit more ease and comfort, because they know Braffett, who is really good with the pacers on. They have seen the back of him.
Well, this brings another problem for Ginger Generals. Of course, St. Paul, who's known to have to really can take the game away from you rather quickly. So he's left to see what type of strategy they would employ, and because they would want to see the backs of St. Paul pretty quickly also.
Yes, certainly Javel St. Paul, a clean striker, powerful striker of the cricket ball. Can hurt you if you get into his half. So it will be interesting what sort of a matchup they bring to him. So far the spin has worked. And we're going to see more spin. As Bartholomew comes from the road end. So the Ginger General really just posting the spinners. They have a very good spin attack. And they're showing it here today.
Oh,
Charles goes big. This one is gone. Really just easing into this one, Kem Charles. Made it look rather easy to bring up a carry power hit. And that is the first carry power hit of the day for the Saffron Strikers.
Well, they would need a lot more of that. With just under 5 overs to go, they would need a lot more of that if they are going to post a respectable total. And 25 for 2 goes Bartholomew, who did relatively well at the under 19 level. Again, for these young players, this is a step up yesterday. We saw a marvelous spell by Enoch Toussaint. It was so refreshing to see the young man coming back from a heartbreaking loss, having to bowl the last over in a game which he couldn't quite bring home for for his team. But that's what great players are made of. You have to go through that type of, well, baptism, if you want to call it that.
Bartholomew again shot this time. Charles not able to find the gap there. Will pick up the single.
So lucky to get away with this one. Short, wide outside the off stump, and probably just getting more the tail, the toe end of the bat. Probably Charles looking to hit it too hard, wanting to hit it too hard.
I'll tell you what, I think it was a bit faster. You can see that he wanted it faster, but the length really wasn't what he expected. Luckily for him, he got away with it.
Indeed. I think a good ball is one that restricts the batsman. Yeah, so immediately.
Now you don't go there. When you are bowling to Javel St. Paul, you do not want to go up into his half. Carry power hit maximum over long on for 6 runs. And he did it nonchalantly, really easy. No big effort, just a full swing through the line and cleared the rope by some distance.
Yes, and whether it's ball 1, whether it's ball 101, you bowl that to Javel St. Paul, you will disappear. And disappear you did. And now the Saffron Strikers looking to get a move on. And as I said, they really need to do that if they are to post a really competitive total. And I think they'll really, the Ginger Generals will have to think about how they approach it from here. They cannot let it slip from here. They still have a pretty tight grip, you could say, on the game. And they need to ensure that they do all they can, the bowlers, and of course with support of the fielders, to keep the Saffron Strikers to a manageable total.
Yes, certainly they want to manage this. You do not want to be chasing anything over 100. So they will want to see the back of maybe these 2 players just to keep themselves, in the hunt and really look to restrict the total that the Ginger General, the Saffron Strikers will set.
And as I said earlier, I guess the man they really want to see the back of has to be St. Paul, Javel St. Paul. And already threatening to take the game away from the Ginger General.
Well, Bartholomew under some pressure. Gone for 13 in the context of what the spinners have done. This is expensive.
Very expensive.
Much better delivery.
Not very good signs. The ball is coming off the bat of St. Paul rather crisply.
Gotta keep going. Somebody take a catch.
Coach Kem Charles will also want to have his say. Yeah. It's going just at about a runner ball. Short again outside the off stump. And on 2 occasions now, we've seen him struggling to probably put away short deliveries, which he should have probably felt that he should have done better with outside the off stump. Bartholomew will want to end well.
Not really hurting the Ginger Generals that much once the ball remains in the park. And so, pretty expensive over from Bartholomew. That was his baptism. And so he will want to, if he has the opportunity, he will want to come back and maybe get a couple of wickets to make up for this expensive over. And let's see the mindset of Captain Jeremiah now.
So, Williams. So go to his pace. I think he will want to, probably, no, not quite. He's still Charles. In fact, Eugene has come back.
So continuing with the pace, it's been working for them. So Eugene just going for 4 runs. Both a pretty tight line and length. They will need him here now to get rid of Charles or St. Paul. Charles pulling this one. Backward the square.
Goes the challenge now with the left and right combination.
Well, Eugene does know quite a lot of St. Paul. So it will be interesting to see what approach he's deciding to use.
It's still very early in St. Paul's innings, so he probably...
Not a bad delivery. Slow, wide outside the stump. St. Paul has to reach and try to generate the sort of power. If you can't get underneath it properly, it means that you just may get that fielder that is out on the boundary.
Oh,
Charles goes. It's high. Fielder getting on there, taking a good catch. He bobbled a bit of juggling there, but eventually he got it in full control. Another one goes. This is what the Ginger Generals were hoping for. As we look at the replay there, George just juggling it there a bit. Could imagine his heart started to beat a bit faster the first time he missed it.
But he's one of the players, though, that if the ball goes up into the air, you don't want to look to see him underneath it. He's a relatively safe, has a very, very safe pair of hands. And even if he may have juggled it once or twice, it was still very much under control. So they have lost the 3rd wicket for 36. We're midway through over number 6. And still not scoring yet at a runner ball. The new batsman, Thomas, the big, mighty hitter from carriacou. So he's here. And
Shine Adrian Thomas, Muggy,
man.
as we all know him.
Hope to make it a little bit muggy for the Ginger Generals. Yeah, but they, I think, would want to clear the pool. They would want to cleanse the pool.
Well, we know that he has.
Yeah. And already, he's after it, but it's in the air. And who is going across? And a good catch, so 2 and 2. And Thomas Muggy, the big man, he just wouldn't get off today. As Bartholomew took a good catch. It went pretty high. He had to go around to his right. And Thomas can't believe he has done that. And a good catch in there. Having to stretch a bit. Again, he was going away from him all the time. And no production by the big man. And certainly the Saffron, they're in even more trouble. And Eugene now finds himself on a hat trick. We haven't seen one yet in the tournament.
Well, I'm not sure if Thomas had to bring the pitch report, but he certainly went in quickly and came out quickly. And so the new batter is in. The Saffron Strikers looking for some sort of momentum to get them up to a respectable score. So far, a run rate of 5.4, really not acceptable. But it's all due to the Ginger Generals and the pressure that they have placed on them.
Well, they have to be cricket smart out there. They have to. They have succeeded so far in this over to keep St. Paul away from strike for most of the time, and they've done so by picking up wickets. And of course, that's another plus.
Yeah, that's the plus. Eugene still with 2 deliveries to go on a hat trick. Let's see what he does. And just been played it into the offside there. No run. And so he'll have to try again another time, Eugene. Final delivery. And Lewis really can't get it off the square. That's Othniel Lewis.
7 gone. I think it's probably the lowest scoring rate we have witnessed after 7 overs so far in the tournament. Yes, it has to be.
Yes, it has. It quite definitely is. It's pretty tough going for the Saffron Strikers.
I wonder, Rondell, whether the Saffron Strikers aren't shell shocked. Did they prepare? Did they plan for that barrage of spin that they received this morning? Probably would have. There is a few fast bowlers on the Ginger team, and probably would have expected a few overs by now from the quick men. In fact, we're having 1 now. So maybe they haven't quite prepared for that type of attack this morning.
Well, this is T10 and this is cricket. You remember you have spinners, you have pacers, you have fellas who bowl in between. So you have to prepare for everything. So as a batter, you really don't have any excuse. What you want happening, especially in this short format, rotation of strike, get a feel as to what is happening before you really try to get going.
So the question is, what can they do with the faster men? Now, they will probably have at least 2 or 3 overs for the most against the
St.
faster
Paul
man.
goes,
Well,
he goes hard,
yeah.
straight back, and 6 runs to Javel St. Paul. What a strike. This is what the Saffron Strikers need to get up to a respectable total.
Well, St. Paul is going very deep in his crease, and it was not a very bad delivery. It was up there, but he managed somehow to get underneath it and hit it back over the head of the bowler, and away for 6. That could be the over that probably pushes them somewhere towards respectability. Can't afford to lose St. Paul now, though. And it goes up. It goes up. And who is coming? They will, yes, and easily taken, and that's more trouble now. Well, St. Paul has gone. He has perished. Well, he had to go. And go he did. And go he is going.
Yes, certainly. Go, guns. Javel St. Paul really not getting the sort of connection that he wanted. And ballooned the catch. At one point, you wonder if Jeremiah really would have been able to get in. But the height that ball had on it made it, that was Eugene rather.
Yeah.
Eugene taking that catch there. Had to run in a long way. Fortunately for him, the ball was up high enough that he can get to it. So, another batter perishes. Score 42 for 4. Well, that would make it 42 for 5 now. Pressure situation.
Yeah, very, 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 very much the pressure cooker. And the first over of pace. Yeah. And probably they've been waiting so long for that. for the faster men. It didn't work for St. Paul. Again, if anything, maybe the ball may have just rushed onto him a little quicker than he anticipated. The one which went for 6 was up there, it was in the slot. This one was just back of a length and really didn't get a handle onto it at all. Probably the ball just hitting, if anything, a little bit high up on the bat and going straight up and being caught by Eugene.
Well, again, the cross-batted shot seemed to be the shot favored by these batters. He really didn't try to hit straight enough. He went across it. And so, taking the top edge, resulting in his downfall.
So, like Kobe John.
Well played there by John.
Oh, magnificent shot. But, again, what Jeremiah has done also too, he has really had a pretty good field, especially on the offside. He has asked the bowlers to bowl to the field, and they have certainly done that, and done that immaculately.
Yeah, really good control by the bowling unit of the Ginger Generals. You see that they had a plan, and definitely the plan has worked so far. Lewis tugging this one in the gap. 4 runs to Lewis. Really wasn't in total control, but what was good there, he got that ball in the area where just dissecting the fielders, bringing up a much needed boundary. 47 for 5. They need a lot more of this if they are going to get anywhere close to maybe 70, 80 runs.
The type of shot which almost where he wasn't quite there, but went through with it and got it through mid-wicket. And in fact, it was very well placed in the end. So I don't know if it's a deliberate shot that he plays. This time off the outer push of the bat, another catch in the outfield and taken. Yes. So Lewis perishing this time on the offside again, a delivery outside the off stump and away from the striking zone. The batter having to reach for it, and all he can do is to get a outer portion again of the bat, and it goes out down to the man on the deep cover boundary, and another wicket has fallen. Again, as you can see, that wide line outside the off stump.
I'll tell you what, Oatmeal Lewis went across, anticipating the wide line. Williams, what he did well was to go wider and cause him to reach for this one. Had Lewis been in his original stance or position, that certainly might have been called too wide.
Of course, it was very, very, very wide. But the temptation to go, because the rate is nothing to shout about. 6 wickets has fallen, 47 runs on the board. We're in over number 8. In fact, the final ball of over number 8. So not much left in the hut in terms of for production, in terms to produce many, many runs. Probably they'll do probably well now to get up to maybe 65, 70. 80 would be certainly a big plus if they do get up to that.
Well, they still have a few more deliveries to go. Let's see what they can do. Jamal Andrews. And this time he just punches through. Jog through a single. Again, the field well set. Bowlers sticking to their plan, not really deviating from what the instruction is. Brings up the end of the 8 over, 48 for 6. How much more the Saffron strikers can get, it will be interesting to see.
Well, it's so refreshing when you, even as a spectator, when you're looking at a game, or especially for the captain, when you have implemented a plan and you see how well the plan works. I think it's really refreshing. And one can actually could have seen from ball 1 this morning the whole intention and the direction in which the captain has set things out to go. And there was no deviating from that. It went just as planned.
Yes, certainly makes the captain's job a lot easier when you have a plan, you put down the plan, and the plan works as you want it to work. You will certainly tap the bowlers on the shoulder and say, guys, job well done.
Yeah.
And let's see if Taylor can get that pat on the back. and maybe wrap up the next 4 batters. They certainly have to come at him. So he has to use all his guile, all his trickery, and see how he can dislodge the next 4 wickets to wrap up the innings of the Saffron Strikers.
Well, he'll want to emulate Williams. Williams in picking up a wicket in his over, and he may well do that on this occasion, although no, it will drop short and almost there again. And delivery pitched up and struck in the air down towards long on, and probably not good thing he didn't time it as well as he thought he could or he should have. He have carried to the fieldsman and posed more problems for the Saffron Strikers.
Kobe John to face Taylor. Slower delivery from Taylor.
This time he's timed it too well, and he's caught down here on the long on boundary. So, and the trend continues, you know.
Well, the Saffron Strikers deciding to use the aerial route and really not getting power to be up in the air. You have to have some sort of power to keep you up there, and they seem to have power failure. So we need to check to see the electricity in the dressing room of the Saffron Strikers.
Well, it was well foxed, you know. It was a slower ball by Taylor, and he never picked it up. He went through with the shot. He was into the shot probably a mile before the ball actually got to him, and all he could have done was to sky down towards long on, and the catch taken down there, and another wicket has fallen. 49 for 7. I probably will have to do now one adjustment. I was thinking that maybe 70, so probably 60 would be a luxury if they do get to that.
Well, the veteran pacer in Nealon Pascal, former national player, West Indies player, out in the middle to battle for his team, Saffron Strikers.
Do you see Nealon hit 1 or 2 pretty well in his time, but not like that. Again, Fox a bit delivery outside the off stump. That wide lines just short of a length.
Well, Nealon has been known to bring out the long handle, but I think here he needs a longer handle. He really needs something to connect and really go over the rope.
You know, we haven't spoken much about the groundsmen, but we've had a really tremendous wickets for every game. I think none of the batters can complain about the conditions in terms of the pitch. There's been good bongs, they have been carried, they have been case, you can hit through the ball. So the bowlers, I think, were the one under the pump, but they came out quite nicely. We see most of them, the use of the slower ball, really variation in pace, lines and stuff and so on has really put batters under tremendous pressure.
Again, slower delivery.
And he's out, you know, he's run out. Well, you don't run for a misfield. And I think that this is a lesson that is taught from the time he was a little... Because I don't know if it was an actual misfield or whether he was fucked, because he went for the second run. And a good return in the end by the fielder there at backward square. And he had to dive, he couldn't make it in and was run out. So one way or the other, it worked.
Well, they need every run that they can get, and so Andrews deciding that he's going to risk it. The bobble from the fielder. Had he maybe given a bad throw, might have been safe, but right now that is still if.
And they really didn't
didn't
hustle too much for the first one either. Probably not expecting the bubble, and when the bubble did come, because one saw Pascal just basically ambling into to make his ground in the end. Well, there's been a constant procession that continues. Let's hope it's not the procession that the Saffron Strikers want to confirm their burial.
Well, 51 for 8.
60?
They will do well to get up to 60. As Williams comes to join Pascal. Pascal, we know, can hit it. Once you get that ball close enough to him, can dispatch you.
How do you explain the teams who have won comfortably in the first round and in second, asking really never didn't even look at half the team they were match before?
Well, that tells you a lot about the opponents and the quality of the teams that we have, because it's not one team that has that problem. We've seen it with almost all the teams. You have a good match, and then you come in and it's like the opponents, they recognize what they need to do, they make the adjustments, and you have a really tough go the second time around. Generals, I think they came off 2 losses. They saw where their problems lie, and now they have made amends, and hence this is the result.
Well, for us as commentators, there's no bias, but sometimes you got to feel happy when you see a team which has struggled and has managed to put it together, and to see how it unfolds in front of you. You have to give them the credit, and you have to really, and it makes for a healthy competition. It makes for a healthy competition. It means that none of the teams are actually rollovers, and at any day, anyone can defeat the other. And that's very good.
So,
Yeah.
interested with the last over, final over of this first half is Ronell Williams. Ronell.
I hope you demand an explanation from Jeremiah as to the strategy which was employed. We've seen only 3 overs of pace, and of course, Neil and Pascal got hold of one. And we know him to be able to hit a few of them.
And that's what we know of Pascal. He can hit them, and Williams guilty of being short on this occasion. And Pascal, with the fact that his team needs runs, doesn't need an invitation. You don't have to print. You don't have to send it electronically. Once he sees it in his half and he can hit it, he will certainly dispatch it as he just did.
There's nothing that says you have to look a particular way in doing that either. It's all about getting it over that boundary line.
Not really getting the connection that he wants. More importantly, he
they're
brings up a
going
single.
again, and the backing up wasn't as good as it should, but probably just laps in there. Jeremiah probably saying to him, well, he wasn't at the top behind the wicket, and getting 2, but good pressure being put on by the batters. We should have seen a little bit more of that from very early.
Quite agree with you there, Hector. Needed to see it earlier. Just put the fielders back on a bit of pressure.
So back in the business area for Ronell Williams, just wide that wide line outside the off stump and out of the reach of Pascal.
So 57 for 8. 3 deliveries to go in the 10th over. Pascal will be looking to get his team over the 60-run mark. So keeper just missing that one.
Of course.
By signal.
Because Anil Match is a very tall man, probably just left the legs a little too wide apart, and having to come down from such a height just was too slow in getting the gloves down. Went through that gap. Luckily, the ball didn't cannon onto the helmet. Would have cost him, 4 or 5 extra runs.
So 2 to go. So Williams on strike. Ruel Williams. Slower delivery. And he's just bunting it. It reminds me of a baseball player where you want to get your partner to get the home run. You just bunt it and you take off.
Could you have George did that wide and say, okay, let me take the extra delivery? I guess the instinctively you want to get bat on ball. So.
Final delivery in the Saffron Strikers innings. Again,
I
wide.
say back and edging. Back in that business area and quite fittily out with end up with a wicket. But importantly too, the Ginger General will have to get 60. You'll have to score 60 to win. And what is the lowest total so far we've seen in the tournament? And it will be very difficult to defend that total. Although nothing is impossible with cricket. Runs on the board is runs on the board. Runs has already been made. He has to go out and he has to get one more. So that means you're still are under more pressure than the team setting the total. But Ginger General have done what they're supposed to do, or I guess what they came out to do. That is to ensure that they got the Saffron strikers out for a minimal total. Really and truly in T10, probably 80s, close to 90, but having to skittle them out for 59 will feel very confident that they can go there and achieve that victory.
Well, tell you what is so interesting about the game of cricket is that you have the same pitch being played on. If one can do it, the other one needs to back themselves and say, hey, if you can do it, I can do it, and even better, and maybe come out and really make a contest of this. Early wickets, consistent wicket taking, pressure, fielders backing up the bowlers, and you never know, you just may have a match on. And even 60 needed by the Ginger Generals. We will return to see the chase in a few moments' time.
that. And it was airborne. The catch was dropped. Here is Pascal. And looking to tuck that down to backward square. That's going to go close to the fine leg boundary. They will come back for the second. The return comes in. It's a good one. But they had sufficient time to cross for two. So the first delivery taken. The catch should have been taken. But it was dropped. So Ginger Generals off the mark. They're 2 without loss. Pascal, who's had a very, very good tournament so far. He's bowled tidily, economically, and he's also picked up wickets. So he moves in from the far end. Delivery outside the off stump. Good carry. Wide, in fact, signaled by the umpire. And that wide may have been for height. Came a little belatedly, I dare say. Good afternoon to you, Rondo. Meager total that was.
Certainly was.
Raps on the pad. There's an appeal for leg before. Spectators also appeal. Not with any conviction by the players out there. But Jeremiah has not really done anything special so far. It's early days. I think the couple of knocks he's had, a bit disappointing.
Yeah, certainly not getting off as yet. We know what he brings to the table.
That was wide down the leg side, and it's going to go all the way over the boundary line. It does. Wide, signal by the umpire.
Yeah, really not the sort of start that the Saffron strikers need. You have a really small target. You want to build pressure. You saw in looking at the first inning, from the first over, the pressure was on. And so that pressure just helped to really stifle the batters.
Did we get a dismissal in the first over this time?
No, in the second over.
So it did spoil the sequence. Driven through cover. That's a fine shot for 4. Well, it was what you call stand and deliver. Stay there. The ball was not quite a half volley, but just slightly back of a length. And he was into the drive and smacked that through extra cover for 4. That was a fine shot, really was.
Certainly was a good shot. It's a shot of a man that wants to really get on with the business. He's backed himself. He knows what he can do. Just needs that confidence.
Pascal, who gets a wide. He just seemed to be a bit inconsistent here, but he stands with arms akimbo, as if to say to the umpire, that was not wide enough. But of course, the adjudicator is out there with great wisdom, and he's the one who would determine the legitimacy of the ball or not. In that case, he felt it was just too wide. So it's been a pretty long over. Still one more legal delivery to go. And it's gone. Well.
Well, Pascal striking in the first over. The sequence is back. Let's look at it. Swinging. Ball really getting some good swing into the legs of Jeremiah. And the umpire are judging that it's just going to cannon into the leg stump. So we look at it here.
Ooh, that would have been touch and go. Now, the thing about it, a judge out leg before, it was swinging. You could see it swung into the left-handed batsman and hit him on the front pad. And just wondering, Ronald, maybe with just another foot or two to go, whether it may have just swung a little down the leg side.
Well, that is where the technology would come.
Yes.
We don't have that technology. But certainly touch and go, looking at the amount of swing, it does pose a bit of doubt as to whether it really, but as we say, without the technology, the umpire has one, while we have 2 and 3. The umpire only has one, and his decision has to stand.
Yes. From it looked in line, but the question is, would that swing take it further down? Oh, he's bowled him. He's bowled him. Well, what a delivery. Oh, my golly.
Yes, certainly Neil and Pascal here just looking to warm
Big
things
swing. Well, he was looking to drive, and he was driving with the bat, the angle of the bat, and that took the inside edge and onto the stump. Really, bit of a swing, not as prodigious as the previous one, and so Ginger Generals, they're in trouble.
up. Yeah, 13 for 2. And 2 very good wickets there. Both Jeremiah brothers are back in the hut. And this is what the Saffron strikers will require, consistently taking wickets if they ever really stand a chance or hope of restricting the Ginger Generals.
But he didn't really reach out to the delivery, Ronald, and that's what I would chide him for. He should have been reaching out to it, get into the pitch of the ball, but he used just his hands. You've got to use your hands and feet. Or except you might be somebody like a Chris Gayle who's got height and he's got long arms, so you can trust the arms to go. And then if you don't succeed, because Chris Gayle was such a powerful man, it will still go to the boundary. But not everybody is gifted as he was. So play it safe, get to the pitch. Matthew will be taking strike.
I think he picked the length well, the line well, but that swing may have just brought it back past the bat face.
Onto the back foot and pushes the ball out to extra cover. So I don't think that Eugene would have believed that he would be there in over number 2.
Well, I don't think much of the Ginger General fans would have expected this total of 60 to really maybe lose a wicket when you think about the batting lineup that they have.
Yeah. Well, this has really pushed this match into a very interesting position. It's nicely perched. Low score. So here is Lewis. They're starting off in the second over with spin onto the back foot and pushed out to a short extra cover. They always say that runs on the board are runs on the board.
Yeah, and this is what the Ginger Generals did well. They utilized their spinners. They had 4 spinners bowled very early, and this helped to stem the flow of runs. The batters were asked to put the momentum into the shot as he's doing now.
And that's going to go all the way for a Carib power hit maximum. It was pitched up, and he just leant into it. Now let's look how easy he did that. Lovely, lovely flow, and had the full arc of the bat, full swing, and it went all the way for 6. Beautiful. This one is not giving us generous flight as the previous one, flatter trajectory, but still pushed it down to long on and gets a single. So he's now gone on to 7 of 4 as Matthew. I think he really wants a good innings here.
Well, Anil coming off a century, a really good spanking century in the GCA NLA T20 tournament, which was held final, the third place playoff last weekend. So he's in good touch, and he just needs to be out there to continue to show that touch.
Yeah, he's got to carry that into this tournament. It's a different tournament. I looked at that match. It was a scintillating century, 102. of, I think, 40-odd deliveries onto the back foot. There is Eugene and just tugs it out to mid-wicket as the over comes to an end. So 2 overs gone. It's 21 for 2, 21 for 2. And don't forget the Ginger Generals. They're going after a target of 60. Saffron Strikers, 59 for 9 of 10. So this match should be a sort of fast-paced one. Maybe the Ginger General will want to get there in 6 or 7 overs. Well, we'll wait and see. Good afternoon to Refill Crony.
Yeah, good afternoon, Pastor Wam.
A low score by Saffron Strikers.
Yeah, pretty low score. And you look at having the score 59, one would initially feel that there's something that's wrong with the pitch or maybe the condition, but
Pascal.
but certainly the conditions out here at Lassa just looks in pretty good conditions, splendid facility. And one imagine that this is a score that should be made rather easily.
Lewis just having a bit of a fumble with the ball, a bit of bad cricket there that resulted in a single to Matthew, which really should not have been. So for the 38 runs needed of 47 balls, the amount of balls absolutely of not much interest, I don't think. Here's Pascal once more to Eugene this time. And driving out to cover. And they go through for a single. Might have been the slow ball too. He had to wait somewhat on that delivery and open the face of the bat and pushed it out to cover.
Yeah, it's one of the features of Pascal, slower and wider. And Eugene having to wait on it and play it out on the offside. But wicket is important, Saffron Strikers, if they're going to get anywhere close. So they would be, I think the only chance is to pick up some wickets. They would have picked up 2 already.
Yeah, the 2 Jeremiahs going. Just looked at the leg before decision though. Might have been touch and go. Wondered whether the swing of the delivery may have taken it further down the leg side. Pascal is driven back past him. It may not go all the way. Yes, it does. 4 runs. Well, it went much quicker than anticipated, really. He drove through the line of the delivery, and it went back past the bowler on his follow-through, threw mid on, down to the boundary for 4. It was a good shot. Nice to see the young man driving through the line.
Yeah, and Matthews continue to play well, as you said before. Just coming off a tremendous century at Progress Park.
Pulls well. That's a fine shot. That's going to go for just the one. There is a fielder down there.
Fielder on
yeah, right down. We're just bad here with object in our way. So it looked as though it was going to be a 4, but there is a fielder down a deep backward square. So my apology for that. They got just a single. Thank you, Rafael, as your third eye came in for me.
Yeah, we're just making a point of Adin Matthew batting. Tremendous inning at Progress Park. And we have seen him here already. That straight drive he played for 4. And even that hook shot, he looked to be in really good position there. And I think this is why we felt that the way that he played it looked like 4. But the fielder was placed right on the boundary.
Yeah, he got it from the middle of the bat. Pushed up on the offside. Good single. Good awareness of mine. And the call was by Eugene because he's facing the direction of that ball. Saw the opportunity for the single and called Matthew, who responded well. So the over comes to an end. The 3 overs gone. It's 29 for 2.
Yeah, and good batting by Eugene. There's no need to do anything rash, and he's just picking up the ones. his role is to stay there with Matthew as long as possible. For they would want to win this game with just a few wickets down, with quite a number of balls remaining. As you know, at the end, it could all boil down to averages and so forth. So I think they would want to win handsomely in
Sure,
this
right.
particular game.
Raphael, you may have observed that we've got an assortment of spices here in the commentary booth. We've got the cinnamon and the clove and the ginger and the saffron, all representative of the various teams here. So came in and saw it all lined out on our desk here in the commentary booth. Well done, whoever was responsible for it.
Yes, certainly, and even as we looked at these spices here, one cannot help but talk about the importance of each one of them.
Yes, you're sure right.
The clove, the spice, the ginger, the saffron.
Bay leaf, cinnamon. So it's a assortment of spices here. Here's a delivery. Glided down to third man. There's a short third there. And it was a very risky single indeed because the fielder at third man was shot in. And of course, Matthew was running to the danger end. It was his call.
It was a tight single. Really, there's no need to be rushing to be taking those tight singles. It was played straight to the short third man. But Matthew, I think, was backed up pretty well to get there. But he doesn't want to take these sort of chances. What he doesn't want to happen is a run out.
Yeah, he's such a good player. Gets onto the back foot and pulls that down to mid-wicket. They crossed for one, wouldn't come back for the second. Little bit of fumble there down at deep mid-wicket. But the ball did, in fact, travel very quickly. And the quicker the ball travels to the field, of course, is always more difficult to go back for the second run, especially if it's going straight to the fielder. Driven up to mid-off and gets another single. There is Eugene. He's now moved on to 6. 4 brings Matthew into strike. He's 14 of 9. Small target.
And hit straight to the backward point. Matthews there, not being able to pick the gap. And hit it straight to the backward point fielder. And certainly a big blow struck here. And it's Matthew who looked the aggressor as we look at the replay. Short and hit it straight to the fielder, not being able to pick the gap.
Yeah, besides that, he didn't get on top of the bounce, Raphael. If we look at it again, it did bounce a bit, yes, but never got really on top of it. And he had sufficient time to rock onto the back foot and get on top of the bounce and square cut it. But it was airborne. It really was a poor shot. That should not have been caught. It was short enough, had sufficient time to put that away.
Yeah, and made it hard on himself because he pulled away. And you, in your days, would have really put that foot across. One of your favorite shots being the square cut. Would have put that right foot across and make sure you get over it. And place it where you want it with a lot of power. But pulling away again, it wasn't the best for him. It made it more difficult to have the control. And as such, was only able to get it to the point fielder. Took a rather simple catch.
Yeah, it really was a terrible piece of batsmanship there. So the Ginger Generals have lost another wicket. It's now 32 for 2. Over number 4 brings Kishan Abraham to the wicket. And so we still have a game on hand here. Ginger Generals. They require a paltry 28 runs to win in 37 balls. So it's not necessarily a difficult assignment. Ball inadvertently going down to fine leg and will get two. That's not where he wanted it to go. He was looking to glide that down to third man, took the inner portion of the bat and went down to fine leg and got two fortunate runs.
Yeah, not in control of that shot, Abraham there. And he's faced two deliveries and he seemed just to be struggling a bit against the spin of Lewis, who has completed his over and continues to bowl well is Lewis. That one coming off the edge and probably going down to a short fine leg region. He picked up two. But at 34 for 3 at the end of 4 overs, I think Ginger General would still feel that they are in control and really should get the remaining runs without much problem.
I think Saffron's strikers may be saying in retrospect, we probably should have got up to about a 90. And if we had done that, with having the main strike bowler in Pascal, who has been penetrative in the tournament so far, would have been a greater challenge for Ginger General. Well, it was just too small a total. 60 is the magic total for a victory.
Yeah, a total of 59 really doesn't give your bowlers much chance to try to defend it. It really has been a paltry score scored by Ginger Generals, who does not seem to be getting off, as one would expect. The likes of Jeremiah, these are some top players, but no one seems to have been able to come off successfully.
Ball short outside the off stump and opens the face of the bat, glides it down to third man. So Eugene has an opportunity here to do something special, albeit it's a rather small score, but he want to come out unbeaten. Abraham faces, pushes out in front of him, or behind him rather, on the leg side, just behind square, and picks up a single. Charles, rather nicely built for a fast bowler. He's got massive shoulders.
Yeah, Charles, again, just coming off the under 19 team, and then on the 23 team, so it does have a lot going for him. And if you look at his run-up, his build, it's probably well built for a fast bowler. Superb shot, shortish delivery, and that was clipped down the backward square with tremendous ease by Eugene. Most probably the first positive shot we have seen, the first shot we have seen him play.
Well, it's been the shot of the innings, really. It was done rather nonchalantly, just got up on one leg and clipped it. Didn't pull it really. It was a lovely use of the wrist. Beautiful. Earned him 4. This time he's right on top of that one and cuts it down to point and gets a single. He's a touch player, Raphael, not one that will belt the ball all around the ground. But if he realizes that, look, I'm a timer of the ball rather than one who will bludgeon it, you've got to know what kind of player you are and the sort of skill and ability that you have. Don't play in anybody else's mold. You've got to know your strength.
That's such an important point you made, in that you ought to play a game. You ought to know your game, where you're strong. And we have seen Eugene in this inning, he's only on 10, but haven't been able trying to do anything much. But they're going to push the ball into the gap, pick up the singles and so forth. Keep the scoreboard ticking. But the minute time you bowl short, like that delivery was pretty short, and he really played a top shot. He just came back and clipped it behind square. And actually nobody moved as it rushed onto the boundary for 4.
Yeah, it really was a gorgeous shot and played with all the confidence in the world. Used the pace of the ball and used his wrist work very well. over comes to an end. 5 overs gone. It's 41 for 3 with Abraham 3 of 5 and Eugene 10 of 9.
So we have seen the bowling of Lewis, the spinner, from the southern end. We have seen Pascal coming from the road end or the northern end. And we have also just seen Tyrion Charles. So we seem to be using more pace from that northern end. And we had spin. Spin will continue in this southern end. So Saffron strikers really will be looking to try all the bowlers, see if they can pick up wickets. I think this is the only thing that will really pull the game back. They will have to pick up some wickets in a cluster if they're going to really make a serious effort to curtail the Ginger Generals from getting that 60 which is required.
Yes, and they're just 19 runs short of that 60. Delivery down the leg side, confirmed as a wide as Kemp Charles. It's bowling from round the wicket. Eugene just taking maybe a leg stump guard. Nicely flighted delivery there by Charles. Just pushed back along the track and the bowler obliges, slips across to his left and picks up dot ball.
Well,
Tripping up to extra cover.
Never know what 2 tight overs can do.
Yeah, you're right.
Kemp Charles in this over, just trying to keep it tight. And Eugene, very patient, which indicates that he seemingly understands what is happening around him. This one is short hit down to backward point, and it goes down to the boundary for 4. Really good shot. Just slightly short, and he picked it up really quickly. And they hit it down to backward point. The fielder at point region, they really had some difficulty, I guess, with the pace that ball traveled. And it went past him down to the boundary for 4.
Yeah, should have stopped it. May have argued that he got a bad bounce. I don't think it really was a bad bounce. It's just that he didn't time the pace of the ball very well and rushed past him for 4. Might have gotten a hand onto it.
What, as we see Eugene again, we're just speaking about him playing his ball on some merit. Don't try to do too much. But as soon as the bad delivery comes, that he takes full advantage. That speaks to the quality of the player.
Yes. He's a touch player. And players got to understand the limitations. That's where coaches also come in to help them to understand and define their playing ability. The over comes to an end. It's 47 for 3. 6 overs gone. Let's look, for example, Raphael, back in the 80s, of course, and of course in the 70s, Larry Gomes, who represented the West Indies, had an average at about 42 at the end of his career. And I know that a lot of people will be surprised, but Larry Gomes did get 6 centuries, test centuries against the Australians. And if you score 1 century against Australia, then you have to be very happy about that. And but around him, you had aggressive players like Viv Richards and, of course, Gordon Greenidge, Desi Haynes, Clive Lloyd. All of these players were good strikers of the ball, and they scored quickly. He was more like a deflector, nudger, timed the ball, and never sought to play like a Viv Richards did.
So again, it goes back to the player themselves understanding their role, their responsibility. What is the purpose? Larry Green was this specifically for a purpose of his role, and that is to bat long. And this is stay and bat. He was not, as you said, he was not the aggressive type. This one hit over backward point, goes back and just dropped the catch there. Just was not able to hold on. And Eugene, they looking to drive and just coming off the outside edge and the fielder at backward point. They get his hands, both hands straight.
It would have been spectacular. Great effort. That's the kind of effort you want to see on the field of play. Let's look at it. Look at the effort. He's really running back, and then it's one of those difficult catches to take. But you can't chide him for efforts at all. Great effort.
So 2 in the process. 17 to 14 to Eugene. Just going back to the point, it's so important that each player on the team understand what their role is, what their responsibility is. And I think it was very clear Larry Gomes understand his role.
He knew it.
That he's going to bat. His role is to go there and bat and to bat long. One remembers him in that spectacular test match in England with Gordon Greenwich. No, this to me is one of the areas that I do believe that even when our teams are being selected and players being selected, that they understand what is the role on the team. And I do believe that if we see this is happening, then players going to go there and play their game. He had a different rule from a Gordon Greenwich, from
Correct.
a Viv Richard. Totally different rule. Hit down to long on, superb shot, pitch up. And he picked this one up. Eugene there picking this one up and hitting it over wide long on for 6 with all the ease in the world.
Yes, for
all timing.
a carry power hit maximum. Well played.
So he reaches to 23. Ginger General get closer and closer. They are 55 for 3.
Yeah. That was a good hit. Really good hit. Got from the middle of the bat. So just 4 needed now from that single. Pushed out on the offside. We're in over number 7. See whether they're going to get it in this over or have to wait for over number 8. 2 legal deliveries remaining. As Abraham takes strike. So I'm sure Saffron strikers have not really done well in the field today either. And they're batting. And usually when your batting is that bad, it also shows up in the field. Driven out to cover. They get a single.
Yeah, I think they probably would have been very disappointed with the sort of score that they would have made on a track like this. 59. Really, they probably would have felt that that's the end of it by the time they finish bat. And we have, as you rightly say, we have seen it in the feeling. We're probably just going through the motion. They will have to regroup. I think they do have players on that team that we know are very good players. And they certainly will have to regroup as they go deeper into the tournament.
Yeah, they've got to put this particular game behind their backs. It's not always easy to do. It's like somebody who has experienced death in the family and you say to them, get over it, the person is already dead. No. Grief comes, the healing process comes with time. So very often you hear fans saying, and maybe fellow players, forget it and let's move on, which is the correct thing to do, but it's not always easy to do. A loss will always be impacting on the psyche of players and teams, as the case may be. Driven down to long on and gets a single. Abraham is now gone on to 5. 5 of 12. It has been a slow knock. Brings Eugene, who's on 24 of 17, into strike. Ginger General, they're getting closer to victory. They need 2. Still 15 balls remaining. I'm really glad to see that both Eugene and Abraham didn't decide to go helter-skelter and unwise in the batting, but just played a sedate, quiet role and picked up ones and twos and singles as deemed necessary. As just done there by Abraham, got onto the back foot and turned it up to long on for a single.
Well, as we have seen and would have discussed in this T10 game, it's all called for sensible batting. You could play normal cricket, you know, bat well and score a big total. I think too many times, I think some of the players miss the importance of just playing normal cricket. And we have seen that players trying to do things. It goes back to the point you were making that they're not used to trying to swing from ball one.
Well, that goes over the infield, over the cover area, and that's the winning run. So Ginger Generals, they've won this game with some 12 balls remaining. Saffron Strikers 59 for 9 of 10, and the Ginger Generals have cantered home 60 for 3. They did have a scare when they lost a couple of wickets in the first over, but the ship was steadied by Abraham and Eugene, and they've won by 7 wickets. Not really the biggest challenge they've had to face, that Ginger General. I'm sure Ray felt that Saffron Strikers would be a bit crestfallen and they would be chiding themselves, maybe back in the dressing room, that look, we did not play as well as we could have.
Yeah, they have to admit that they played badly. As I said before, the score 59 runs here, it speak to, I don't know if it was poor batting or the quality of the bowlers, but they really would not have been happy the fact that they only scored 59. And again, all credit to Ginger Generals. They would have lost some OD wickets. And I thought that Eugene played very well. He played sensibly. Even though it's a T10 tournament, yes, it was a small score. But it, all called for sensible batting. And actually, the fact that he came out not out on 24, certainly he actually shows the quality of player that he is. And I think at the end, Ginger Generals would have won rather comfortably, winning by some 7 wickets. And we all expected them to win 59. We expected them to win pretty easily.
Yeah, the thing is, Raphael, T10s 2020, they're supposed to be very pro batsmen. There is a slight balance to batsmen, even in regards to the preparation of the pitches. And scores like 76 and 59, batters obviously need to think about having bigger scores, at least get beyond the 100 mark. And there need to be much more thought going into the batting on the part of these players. And understand, really, it's a shortened version of the game. It's 10-10. But it doesn't mean that you've got to be careless and carefree. You can still keep your shape and still be able to score big and score quickly in this shortened version.
Yeah, and you said it right. Understanding the game that you are playing. And it just seems as though the approach to batting really hasn't been the sort of approach that you expect. And because of this, you find that our batsmen are not, they don't seem to be able to get a start. And we see that most of the teams that would have played before. And as you rightly say, the quality of pitches more favors the batsmen. And therefore, we expect the run to be really high. But again, I just believe it's the approach, how we go into the game. Even though it's a T10 game, but understanding the approach in terms of how you approach that shortened version of the game.
Yeah, just now we'll be going down to join Ronald John, of course, at post-match interview and presentation. Will be obviously the player of the match, and Global Service Impact Bowler also will be receiving particular awards, monetary awards. So the news is that the Ginger General, they have defeated Saffron Strikers by 7 wickets. It was a low-scoring affair, pretty meager total, and so it was not much of a challenge for Ginger Generals to overhaul a small and rather meager total. It's early days yet, Rafael, in the tournament. This is day number 4. The tournament goes on to the 25th of May, so there are lots of matches. But it's so very important that your early games, some teams tend to say, well, it's early days still, but opportunities lost may never be regained. So whenever you got the opportunity, regardless of the time and period within the tournament, it is important to play every game as hard as possible, as if it were the last one.
Yeah, and you also want to develop the habit of winning. You want to start off in a winning note, and it actually builds the momentum and it gives the team the rhythm to continue to going on.
Okay, so let's go down to Rondell John. I think he's ready. Rondell, are you ready? Let's go over to Rondell.
All right, so let me give them a minute.
Yeah, he's probably not quite ready as yet.
Yeah, just making a point in terms of the teams. You want to develop the habit of winning, and therefore you want to take that momentum right through. So when you have the opportunity to do so, you'll want to make sure that you make full use.
So let's go over to Rondell John. Post-match ceremony. Rondell.
Realize we talked. There was 3 of us talk yesterday, and we was most side on. Okay, so we are here for the post-match presentation. We're speaking with the Saffron Strikers captain, Kem Charles. Kem, not really the sort of result that you wanted.
No, I think we fell short with the bat. We shot by, like say, 15 to 20 runs. But I'm still happy with the men because we put up a good fight in the end.
Okay, looking at the innings you came out to bat, did you really expect the level or the amount of spin?
No, the wicket, looking at the wicket, we didn't expect the spin to play such a big part, but we had to adjust. We tried, but it didn't work out today. All
right, well, not the result you want, but you still have something that you can take from this, and so we wish you best of luck as you continue on the tournament. Well, we are going to speak with the captain of the Ginger Generals, and then we are again going to get into the presentations. So, Johan, you came into this contest. You were desperately in need of a win. You got it. How does it feel?
It was a good feeling, We went back, we assessed, and we came back better with plans, and the guys executed. So I must commend my bowlers for doing so today.
Well, looking at your innings, you started your innings with spinners dominating maybe the first 6 overs. Was that really the plan, or as it started, you just continued?
Yeah, well, we had a plan against, to use most of the slower bowlers to against the Saffron team, and it just worked out in our favor. So grateful for that.
All right, well, good luck to you as you continue. We hope that you continue to build that momentum. It's early days in the tournament, and so we wish you best of luck.
All right, thank you.
And so now we are going to get ready for the presentations, and we are going to present the Carib power hitter of this match, and that is none other than Javel St. Paul. All right, Javel, quickly. You got in. It seems like you were seeing it. the spin playing a big part. How difficult was it out there?
It wasn't difficult at all. For who know me, they know I love spin. I think that our batsmen, the top order batsmen, didn't really utilize the spin much. And I think probably other methods could have been used to probably have the other batsmen in the middle probably come and utilize the spin. Maybe we didn't expect much spin today, but that's something for us to work on the next game.
All right, I hope that you really do work on it and that we can continue to see the Saffron strikers, giving off their best in this year's tournament.
Of course, man, yeah. Thanks.
All right, thank you. That was Javel St. Paul, the carry power hitter. And we are going to go to the next award, and that will be the Global Services Inc. Impact Bowler, and that goes to none other than John L. Eugene. All right, John L., you came into the match. The spin seemed to just take root, and you all seem to be flowing with it. How did it feel really getting that ball? Were you getting turn, bongs? What is it that you were really looking for?
It's a good feeling, to contribute with the ball. On those kind of wickets, you just tend to focus on your length. I believe that if you bowl a good length and line and give the batsman the pace that you want him to work with, you will come out on top.
All right, really well done, John L. And I don't want you to go very far because you are also the man of the match. So I will take this from you and you will be presented with your man of the match. Okay, well, again, a really good all-round performance from you. Batting in that inning, what was it like?
Usually low totals tend to pose a psychological challenge for us, but you just gotta just stick to the basics, keep rotating the strike, and when the odd boundaries come, you just make use of it.
Well, it's really good to see that the Ginger Generals are on the board finally, and I do wish you all best of luck as you continue into this year's tournament.
Thank you very much.
Well, there we had it. That was the post-match presentation for Game 1 of Day 4 of the Dream 11 Spiceisle T10 Season 5. Do stay tuned. We are going to have match number 2, and it's going to be a really cracking one. The Cinnamon Pacers, they are going to come up against the Clove Challengers. Until then, we see you.